the Americans aren't going to want to come in and get off to a sluggish start and make it look like nothing has changed. So I think there's a whole bunch of stuff that needs to be addressed probably over the next couple of weeks, which could have a really, big impact, a defining impact on what next season looks like. You have to say the Americans will be coming in. They can't not put together a proper challenge next season, because I think that's all that Rangers fans are asking them to do is come in and make them competitive. And for all these reasons, I think they have to start making their moves now. If they leave it any later than April, I think they're too far gone. Clubs have started making plans, putting plans in place back in January for this window.
Yeah, I get that, but listen, I mean, see the big gaps that appear in Glasgow are sometimes a little bit kind of I'm not saying false, right? But they can change quite quickly. I mean, you look back to Celtic when Ange Postecoglou came in June. They had a new CEO as well at that point in time, who didn't last very long, obviously. But at that point in time, Rangers won the league by an absolute mile, remember, under Gerrard. There was talk at that point, it was the old Dave King pack of cards thing, and talk about dominance for a few years at Rangers, and we felt as though that the sands had shifted in Glasgow. Fast forward 12 months and Celtic are champions. Fast forward three more years, and it looks as though the length is like all shit ahead of Rangers.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually take much to upset the equilibrium in Glasgow. I mean, Rangers, you look at this season, when they've beaten Celtic twice and are 13 points behind, you think it might not take that as much as some people think sometimes to tip the balance back in their favour, or at least tip it into a kind of more competitive nature. Mm-hmm. So but again, though, I think there is a huge work required, and they have to be really smart. I'm saying making 7 new first-team players, which is a lot, whereas Celtic under Postecoglou, they get 7 first-team players and they got them in and they hit the ground running. The guys like your Medas and Kyogos, and back then it was Juranovic and Giacomakis and Moyes. These guys, they all came in, hit the ground running and did the job. Whereas too many Rangers signings in the last 3 years have not hit the ground running and have not managed to get up and run at all.
Yeah.
So that they have to come in, be quick, be nimble on their feet, get in the transfer market, get their manager in place, director of football, and get the signings in, and make sure they're good signings. Mm-hmm. And if they do that, I mean, it's a bit like the Romans, apart from the roads, the medication, the sanitation. Apart from getting the manager, the director of football, and all the signings right, if we do all that, it's an absolute scoosh.
What have the Americans done for us?
If we do all that, it's a breeze. You know what I mean?
There's Craigie comment on YouTube. Stevie G will be back next season with Barry as his number 2. Now, I've heard, and the Steven Gerrard rumour is never far away, is it? No. I can tell you, in my belief though, and I did write a column about it today, Barry Ferguson will be number 2 to nobody. Now that he's had a taste, we know Barry obviously from working with him as a colleague at Record Sport over the period. Do you think, Mick, that in any way, shape or form, Barry Ferguson could be convinced to step back and a seat at the back of the dugout and watch somebody else drive it?